Are you gonna clip the front chunk of that out, or
Yes.
okay?
Like there was a couple of like getting ready here and there things going on.
So if not, I could hang up and call you back, and then create a new recording. That might be
Well,
easier.
well, the last thing we did together apparently was the Saucemas. And I'm trying to figure out what our last conversation. All right, talk One Piece. All right, I think we ended on War of the Best.
Oh wow, that's a while ago.
Okay, so uh, you want to do like a quick recap up to that point, just because it's been 2 years since we've done one of these.
Oh wow, has it really
Yeah.
been that long?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I gotta look up just some story arcs to see where the heck that is. Hold on. What do we got? Story arcs. East West Summit War.
All right, so
Marineford,
that's
right?
East Blue. What?
So we're looking at post-war, right?
Well, War of the Best was Marineford.
Yeah, like chapter 550-ish. There's some weird. I'm on a weird site. I'm on One Piece Wiki. Let me go find a more direct.
Okay, so I'm looking at like a list right here. It goes in order. This is the Super Rookie Saga.
Yeah,
So it goes East Blue,
then Alabasta,
Alabasta,
Sky
Sky
Island,
Island,
Water
Water
7,
7,
Thriller
Thriller
Bark,
Bark,
and Summit War,
Summit War. So
which is what
Summit
we're
War
looking
is
at.
basic. So like the first
Yeah.
half of Summit War is where we left off.
First test, we did Shabandi Pelico, we did the Amazon Lilies, we talked about the Impel Down.
Yeah, we definitely talked Temple Down because I know I mentioned that it was my favorite one. So like
Okay.
we basically had to do like post Impel Down to uh, the post war, so the time skip.
Okay. So then we're on what? Fishman Island? Are we on the New World?
Uh, well, let's do the time skip and then we'll cover up to um, let's see. Because do you want to do Fishman Island?
I mean, I'm
Time
up for
skip to
whatever.
Fishman Island.
I've got a little time. I have to remind myself what happened in the time skip besides all the training. I think that's the main thing, right?
Well, Fishman Island, like as long as it took, it like there wasn't that much going on. It just like there was a lot of setup going on. And there was a lot of uh,
No, no. I mean the time skip piece. Are we talking about like what they did during the time skip and all the interesting things there, or like what's the plan here?
I think with the time skip, we just detail like a little bit of what all the crew members did.
Okay.
We don't have to go because not everything's been revealed with Luffy and Zoro.
Yeah,
So like just what we know.
especially Zoro.
Yeah.
All right. So then I guess we can start here. So we're starting at about the 10-minute mark. That's about right for us. Um,
Hmm.
So if we're talking about time skip, right? So we have a whole bunch of different characters that go on through the time skip, and the most interesting ones, to me at least, are Chopper and although we don't have very much information on it, I think Robin's the other really interesting one.
Robin is the most interesting one because it has the most stuff that could pay off.
Yeah,
Um, Chopper, uh, Chopper, Chopper had like he was like the same deal as Sanji and Nami because they were in one spot. They were just learning a whole bunch of things. Same thing with like Usopp, but I think Usopp like has a little bit of a payoff that could happen later if the guy that he was with comes back.
Well, the guy that he's with came back when they all went back to Shabandi.
Yeah,
If you recall, he helped sort of cover their tail. The reason I like Chopper is that like when you look at like Frankie and Usopp and Nami, they didn't really develop, right? Nami's the same person she's always been. She's got better weather stuff and she's a better navigator, but her character hasn't changed. Usopp,
it
I
was
had
just
some
like skills
go ahead.
upgrade. That's what it was.
Bingo.
It
Usopp's
was a
another one
leveling
that
up.
go ahead.
It was a leveling up moment. It wasn't an evolution.
Yeah. So same thing for Usopp, right? We think when he gets back he's going to be this brave and courageous person, but no, he's still a wimp. Frankie's the same crazy guy. He just had access to tech, right? But with Chopper, it was interesting because he had to grow, right? For him to solve the conflict between the birds and the dudes, he had to do something he's not used to. He had to actually stand up to both sides. And so for his character, in my mind, that's a little bit more growth than the other locations. I mean, yeah, sure, Luffy's going to have an interesting arc. He trains with Rayleigh, he learns hockey, yada yada. Zoro trains under Mihawk, learns hockey, learns swordsmanship. Sure, you expect that. They're two of the big ones. Sanji's arc is funny, but not really a surprise, right? You figured he was either going to end up on the island of all women and learn nothing and just be the same exact person, or he's going to end up with Ivankov, who we had just been introduced with prior to Inside of Impel Down, Inside of the Great War, where it's like his nightmare. It's going to force him to run forever and become, much more stamina based. And in his case, he learns to flight step. But I think that he was sort of undercut pretty heavily because if you look at him as a character, if you fast forward a little bit, even as of recently, he had to get some technology to help him. He didn't really learn that much in the time skip. Yeah, he learned how to do the moon step. He got a little faster, but his main thing was he learned how to be a better cook. And
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That doesn't really develop him as a character. That's why I liked Chopper's arc, because it forced him to push himself outside his comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I love Robin's because maybe it's because we still don't know what the heck happened, but we know that she was with the Revolutionary Army. We know that she spent time with Dragon, and that to me is just interesting.
Well, like I said before, Chopper evolved because it used to be like he would take a rumble ball and he would become one thing. Then now, post time skip, he would have different abilities. He had, and he doesn't use the.
Well, he doesn't need the rumble ball. Well, he only uses the rumble ball for the big form, and he can control it now. So whereas before he needed a rumble ball for any of his other subforms besides humanish form, the cute form, and the Moosey form, now he can control all of them without it. So yeah, he definitely grew. He learned things as a doctor of medicine. There's just having to stand up to both sides of that conflict is so far out of Chopper's skill range usually that to me it was just a growth point, which I'm hoping we'd see later.
But Frankie had the funniest one because Frankie goes to Vegapunk's island. Which I think what was it, an abandoned factory or something? It was
one of his old. It was his old lab. One of his old labs.
His old lab, and he ends up blowing himself up along with the lab, but he ends up using Vegapunk technology to rebuild himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, it was funny that it was
funny.
Just then. Usopp's was fun because post time skip. Usopp was still the same old coward.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because of small fry villains. Mm-hmm. Whenever he's scared, it's Doflamingo. It's that one childlike
the nanny
devil fruit user it's never it's Kaido. It's never some guy that's just like, I'm gonna fight you. It's always the big ones. So they managed to keep him the same. They made him different, but still the same.
Well, they didn't really change. It was just that he hasn't really encountered any of the small fry yet. If you look at the things that have happened so far, he hasn't really fought against them much. But even when they get captured later on in Doflamingo's Island, not to spoil anything, he's afraid of the little people that tie him down, if you recall. And they're kind of small fry. They're kind of not, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I'm just not sure that he's really any different.
So Luffy ends up for the time skip. This is after he goes to Sabaody, or was it Sabaody, or was it like the Navy headquarters or something like that, where he rings the bell?
So what happened with the bell, right? You have the war that happens, right? And so
Yeah.
after the war happens, and he's brought back to the Amazon Lily Island, where Rayleigh finds him, and says hello again, reintroduces himself. That's when they say, okay, we're going to take you to do the bell. And the whole point behind the bell is A, to sort of spit in the Marine's face a little bit. More importantly, is to show the change in the plan, the tattoo on his arm, where he crossed out the 3 days, the 3D, and he puts on 2Y, so that to tell his crewmates, we're not doing 3 days anymore, it's going to be 2 years. And that's the whole point of the bell.
It's same concept. I thought it was one year scratched off to 2 years, and then it was one Y 3D. Then it was 2Y 3D.
No, I think it's 3D scratched off, then 2D. 2Y rather. It's not 3 days, 2 years. Yeah, it's 3D's crossed off, 2Y. Here, I've got.
Right.
I'll share my screen so you can see it. Right? No 3D, 2Y. Can you see the image I put up?
Yep, I saw it. Okay.
Yep.
That works.
So the idea was they originally said we're going to go, when we get separated, we'll meet back up in 3 days. That was before the war happened, when they got pushed off by Kuma. And then, Luffy then realizes that, I don't know why there's a heart on my face there, but realizes that they're going to need a couple of years of training. They need to evolve.
I don't know what you did on that one, because did someone hit react or whatever?
I think maybe when I turned off the screen share, I hit something by accident.
All right.
Oh, there's all kinds of things here. Maybe a sad face because I didn't know what I did.
The most boring one had to be Brooks.
One where he just played music. Oh, I don't know if it was boring. It was kind of ridiculous.
It was like I think the author did it specifically so that it was like, Brooks has 2 years to just wander around. What's he gonna do? Is he gonna go see the Blue? No, he's stuck being like a performing musician. Like that was, I think, the reason why he couldn't upgrade anymore because he's dead. And
but he could still learn new things. If you remember, he learned how to use the Ghost of Power. He learned how to use his music more effectively for hypnosis. I think it was interesting. I mean, there's a little bit there. I mean, by putting him as a famous musician, right, you're guaranteeing that. What's the guy's name? The doctor who takes care of the whale, not Croc.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of it.
Oh my goodness, I'm losing my mind. It's almost like I haven't looked at old One Piece stuff in like a decade.
It's like characters you haven't thought about in 15 years. You have to.
Yeah, I know it was the guy who was the doctor on Roger's ship. Roger's Pirates. Doctor. Is that Scoper Gabon? Is that the guy's? No, that's not the right one. Sunbelt, Mario, Don Kino. Crocus. That's it. It wasn't Croc. Yeah. It was Crocus. That's what I was missing. My bad.
Yeah, that sounds right.
No, I looked it up. Crocus. Right. So that Crocus had to have seen, what it is that Brook was doing. So at least you know that, the whale has been told, one of your old friends is still alive.
Technically.
Well, you know what I mean. Around is maybe more accurate than alive. But, yeah, I mean, I'm waiting for him to have some sort of contact that he's made that we don't realize in the underworld from his musicianship to come in handy. I mean, his popularity's come in handy once or twice, but I'm waiting for him to have had dinner with some shady gangster when he was doing his thing, and all of a sudden magically he has some sort of connection or rivalry or something that plays into what's going on, something more interesting.
Yeah. Well, so Luffy ends up going to Rayleigh, and
Yep.
Rayleigh trains him how to use hockey, and
Yep. At least the
he also
basics.
learned. He also does. He's one of the few guys that evolves. So he actually comes away with new skills and new fifth gears.
Fourth gear.
Fourth gear.
We haven't gotten
There's going to be a fifth one.
Oh, absolutely, and probably a sixth, seeing as that's standard on most cars.
So they'll call it something like overdrive watch. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, so the post time skip arc where everyone is acting as imposters is maybe my least favorite arc in the entire series.
So ridiculous. I mean, I get that you would get imposters for famous pirates, but the way they implemented it was like, what?
And plus, I think they overmilked the joke that Luffy is dumb. It was Luffy, Chopper, and who was the third guy that got mixed up with people? Actually believe that somebody was who they said they were.
Luffy, Chopper, and I think it was Zoro, wasn't it?
No, I don't think it was Zoro. It was either Usopp or it was
No, Usopp found Nami immediately.
Okay.
Right, Usopp and Nami found each other immediately. Frankie stayed at the ship. Sanji found Usopp, but I don't think he got mixed up with a faker. But I thought it was Zoro, but it wasn't like he thought they were crewmates. They just grabbed him. I thought, but I could be wrong.
I think with Zoro, I think it was after his 2-year girlfriend dropped him off.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I think I want a statue of that character just because I saw one of her with the ghosts. That was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the characters, or Luffy, definitely got mixed up with the characters, and it was interesting because they didn't believe he was really the real Luffy.
Yeah.
And the meme of Nami looks the same as the person that looks at the same, or the one that says she's Nami. That meme is hilarious. But I was like, come on now, let's get this over with. Get back on track. Because basically it was a pause button that they stopped right where they left off. There was no real status quo change.
Yeah, that's accurate. Sorry, I'm just looking at some of the information regarding some of this stuff. But that arc was terrible. I mean, yeah, you needed a way to get them together, and I suppose there being something already going on with them and them showing up is better than just all of them miraculously meeting, at the same pub. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, One Piece has kind of gotten into this thing where the characters sort of split the party every time they go somewhere.
Yep.
And it's very much like One Piece has become a very heavy set of vignettes, where you've got these smaller stories that all meet up together. And don't get me wrong, that's not a complaint. Oda does a wonderful job with it, and it's interesting. But at the same time,
he's gotten better at it.
He has, and he does a good job with it. But the deal that I work at is, at this point, there's no surprise. Not in the sense that he can't reveal things. He's a master of doing that. But there's no, that if 5 of them go to an island, within 5 chapters, they're all separated. It's not going to last. So your question becomes not how are they going to do something, but what trouble are they each going to separately get into, and how is that going to tie back around?
Well, with me, they do a, if I remember correctly, they do a good job of sticking together for Fishman Island.
For a little while.
But like when you see it happen in Dressrosa, it carries on a long time, and when you see it happen in Whole Cake Island,
And
it
Whole Cake
carries on a
Island's a
long time.
biggie. And even like
But
with even with Dressrosa, you have the section of the crew that peels off and goes to Zoe.
Yeah.
You know? So like even then, like you've already got 2 groups. Oftentimes you're gonna end up with 4 or 5 groups of the 9 characters.
Yep.
You know?
So,
or you'll have a group of 3 of them, and then for some reason one of them will just run off. And again, like it's interesting in that he's done a great job of spiderwebbing it, but it is sort of this pattern that you know that One Piece takes. When they go to a place, they're all going to get separated somehow. I mean, look at Punk Hazard. You know,
that
immediately.
Well, the biggest offender I think in post time skip has to be when they're at Whole Cake Island, and for like 3 or 4 years, he's not drawn Zoro, he's not drawn Nami, he's not drawn Robin, he's not drawn Usopp, and actually no, I think no, Zoro was definitely not in. It was Sanji, and it was Zoro at Whole Cake Island?
No.
No, okay, because so. That I remember. Like, I'm trying to remember who it was that cut the cake.
It wasn't a cut the cake. They came out of it and went kaboom. From it with
right.
What's his name, Beje. But no, it was Zoro, Frankie, Usopp, and Robin left for Wano instead of Whole Cake Island.
Yeah.
So they didn't have.
You didn't see them for like 4 years.
Well, yeah, because they weren't there. They were at a different location. You know, they didn't draw anything except for the people at Whole Cake Island until Whole Cake Island was over. And then instead of going to Wano, we took that little reprieve at the meeting. But we've sort of gotten off topic, right? Because we talked about doing the time skips, which we did, and then we did the impersonator.
I think it's kind of related to the time skip, though.
Well, I mean, everything can be drawn back to the time skip, right? Their new abilities, their new things that they're doing, the knowledge they have is all from the time skip. But I mean, for that matter, we could start referencing out East Blue. But the problem is that if we go too far ahead, we're going to start spoiling things for the section, right?
Yeah, well, all right. So they get back together, and Rayleigh coats the ship with the bubble coating.
Yep.
It was a nice touch seeing Kuma defending the ship the entire time, because that was
awesome.
Yes, that was like a worthwhile part. So
I'm waiting to see him again.
We're gonna see him again, but it's not gonna be the same. That was the last time we saw that Kuma.
Oh, absolutely. He's gonna be a true enemy now, and the interesting part will be, you know, like where is he gonna show up? What's he gonna do? You know, obviously he kept his Vegapunk kept his promise, right, to make sure that Kuma was able to protect things.
Yeah,
but
he became a total machine.
Yeah, so the question becomes, you know, where is he going to show up again?
Well, there's been so many characters that have been hinted at over the years that if One Piece is going to end in the next 5 years, like they're talking about, like it's going to be.
But they've been saying that for 5 years.
I think he's serious, because when you do a series for 20 years, you just start thinking about retirement.
Yeah, true. I mean, the other end of it is that Luffy has gone from, you know, rookie, never encountering with anything, to the point where he's now fighting warlords, right? Or not warlords, excuse me. He's now fighting emperors.
Yeah. And there's only
we're not sure
two
he can
forces after that.
Yeah. Now, we're not sure that he can beat them yet, though we suspect as a main character he will. Right? He hasn't succeeded in beating either of them yet. But he's at least he's still on the same battlefield with them. And not on the same side. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes in the next few chapters of the current stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if the series legitimately ends, let's say, by 2030, He has a
That's
lot of work to do.
yeah, because there's Raftel at the end of it,
Hmm.
but there's Elbaf
Well,
Island.
yeah.
There's
Well, he
there's
doesn't.
just so many things they've been teasing.
Well, the other thing is that I'm a little nervous that he's just going to end and never actually shore up any of that stuff. Because by all technicalities, he doesn't have to actually finish his own story, right? He can just show off. He can finish the stuff with Luffy, and the Straw Hats. They can either become the King of the Pirates or not. They can either get to Laugh Tale or not, and then the story can end however he wants it to end, and he can just leave things like Elbaf and future children and romance relationships and all blue and stuff like that. He can just leave them as who knows. He doesn't have to truly show anything.
I can see
Which
Sanji
will drive all of
his
us
ending is looking
crazy.
for all blue.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
could see certain dreams not coming true, for the purpose of the story.
Yeah.
Like Nami drawn like there are certain ones where they could just do it as one page at the end, like the victory lap chapter, where it's just like Luffy becomes king of the pirates, Sanji finds the all blue,
Yeah.
Zoro becomes the greatest swordsman. But that would be a better payoff in the story than as as an afterthought.
Oh, I would 100% agree. I think that Zoro becoming the greatest swordsman needs to happen when he eventually has to face off with Mihawk
He
in
still
the
has to
actual
figure
story.
out why that one Navy chick looks like his childhood friend.
Oh, absolutely. Did she actually die? Is there a cousin? Is it just to mess with him? There's a lot
Uh,
of there's a lot of things that we hope that he ties up before he decides to stop.
all right, so Fishman Island.
Okay, Fishman Island. Well, Fishman Island is just a tone setter, in my opinion. Right? You get some B-rated villains that give them more trouble than they should. But really, the whole point of Fishman Island is to, in my opinion anyway, is to set up the idea that Luffy's not just going to find the emperors; he's going to upset them. He's going to create enemies and make a wave because that's what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also, I think, to set him up as the new Whitebeard.
It's that, and it's also to let you know that from here on out, it can get really serious on
Hmm.
like a social level with
Yeah,
because uh,
it's almost like the
there's
gloves are off.
that, and there's a lot of people out there that would be like One Piece is too long. I can't read 1,000 chapters of something. It's like 800 episodes.
Hmm.
I can't do it. Meanwhile, I was like, if you guys are like interested, because like I'd be really curious to see what Black Twitter would do with Fishman Island arc.
I don't know.
Well, just because like when Black Twitter got on Game of Thrones,
Hmm.
like it really blew up on Twitter. Because Game of
Okay.
Thrones was a big show to begin with,
Yeah.
but uh, there was
Yeah,
like a
really?
certain point, like 3 years from it ending, where Black Twitter just was like, uh, her, like Khaleesi, that's ours. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's
uh,
one of those where I think it's just really about okay, hey, we're taking the gloves off. The story's going to get dark, which it has,
and
and
truth be told, like even up to Wano, it didn't lighten up, and like there was
even
always something like
Wano hasn't lightened up. I think there's been some fun in it, but
yeah, exactly.
every arc, everything has had fun. And even Doflamingo had some fun stuff in it.
Well, Doflamingo was a fun character.
Well, not even that, but like the funny stuff that would make you think things are lightening up, like the little they're like little mini doors, but they're called them spirits. Just running
Mm-hmm.
around and stealing stuff and making people chase after them was humorous. There's lots of funny stuff that happens all over the place. But the problem is that, or not the problem, but the deal is that at the end of the day, Doflamingo is this warmongering, you know, gas and biological weapons merchant that also
He's the
sells
guy that
weapons.
wants to see everything burn.
Yeah, that's effectively, supplying non-Geneva Convention weapons to one of the biggest crime lords and butcherers of people on the planet. You look at Whole Cake Island. Yeah, a lot of it is, you know, all about Linland, right? It's all about Big Mom and how ridiculous her area is. But at the end of the day, she's another pirate that trades with people's souls,
Hmm.
right? And essentially enslaves everyone, draining their life force to create an unbeatable undead army effectively. And you're
Yep.
talking about the prettiest colored Lich King that I've ever seen in any piece of literature. Kaido's another one who was just using Doflamingo and not only has biological weapons, but it has the most highest quality swords and shields and arrows and bows that exist on the planet, building a huge
Tell you
army.
what, out of all the
They're
ones
all
that we've
just
seen be evil,
they're adult themes.
like Kaido's is interesting in that it's not the worst setup. It's like yeah, I took over this place. Yeah, everyone's miserable. Yeah, like I'm setting up like this prop one, but like like that's like pirate stuff. That's like I'm buying
He's a
weapons. I'm like
he's
amassing
a
an army.
consummate pirate. But what you have to also look at is that on Wano, he's been able to propagate bloodlines to fight and keep this entire continent under massive, dystopian future where many of them are so poor that they can't
Hmm.
even breathe.
They can't breathe. They can't eat. So
And it's the point where he takes away their expressions. All they can do is smile.
hold on a second. There we go. The light I was getting, I felt like it was going down, even though I had like one light source going on. Well, anyway, so Fishman Island has a couple things going for it. Um, you get introduced to Big Mom.
At the
You
very
get
end, a little bit, yeah.
a little bit. Uh, you get the running gag of Sanji can't look at mermaids
Yeah, or women in
because
general.
well he spent 2 years with all guys, so as soon as he
Yep.
sees a woman, uh, like
He bleeds
his
from the
nose starts
nose.
bleeding.
Yeah, and he's starting to lose
Well,
blood pressure.
well, when he sees the prince, or no, he doesn't see the princess. Uh,
No.
like Chopper says to him, Sanji.